Welcome here to part three of talking about Formula One, and we'll be talking about the communication aspect of mentoring. And this is a practice that is demonstrated so well in this movie. It's actually kind of mind-boggling. Uh, Remember, Formula One is a movie where is a struggling race team that has to get one victory in nine remaining races, or the team is sold off and people lose money, lose jobs, etc., etc. Javier Bardem is the owner. He brings in Sonny Hayes as the veteran to try and bolster the team with the hot but undisciplined rookie, played by Damson Idris, along with the technical director, team engineer, played by Kerry Condon. Um, the thing that is so interesting with the mentoring aspect in this movie is how it demonstrates mentoring can occur not just 360, but it's almost like if you're in a sphere, it's not just this way, it's this way. It's all over the place. The different people that are engaged in mentoring with each other, and it's not just top down. In the healthy communication video, the second part, I mentioned a situation in which the tire changer asked Brad Pitt not to stick up for her again in front of the team in the garage. That was a form of mentoring from her to him, as far as how she felt about a different instance and what she's looking to develop from, and how him sticking up for her in a situation, while a lot of people would interpret that as being helpful, she viewed that as kind of being a detriment in how she is seen and performs in front of her teammates. And that is from, many people, what many people would think of a more junior to a more senior, mentoring activity, which some organizations, doesn't fly in, and they're usually weaker because of it. Um, and just the degree and the amount of mentoring that happens in this, we got that feedback from the tire changer to Sonny. We've got, mentoring happening with the two drivers, and there's a lot of friction and tension there, especially at the start. Sonny and Kate, the veteran driver and the engineer, have a beer talking about the car. And, in addition to the scene that's played a lot about how Sonny wants a car that's made for combat, what's not shown in the trailers very much anyway, and is really emphasized in the movie, is Kate's monologue about how F1 is a team sport, and how part of Sonny's problem is that he's kind of that rough and tumble loner cowboy type, but that's not what F1 is. Formula One is a team sport. It's critical, and like not just the two drivers who are also rivals have to work together, but also with everybody else in the team, the principal, the technical director, all the mechanics, all the support staff, people in communication. It's a team activity. No one person can run or be an F1 team. It's just impossible. And then, it's almost like a Yoda type of role that she has. Like F1 is team, team it is F1. And then you look at what happens following that conversation. It's one of the things that clicks with Sonny. And he's in a position to where, on the face of it, he's the mentor of the rookie driver, but also he's walked into a broken team. This team is not performing well at all. They've never scored a point. They need a winner. They're done. His friend is in, financial risk of losing that team. And so he's got a couple different things that he needs to consider. He's mentoring the rookie. He's also mentoring that team. And to a certain degree, he's mentoring Ruben, when he made the comment about the car, gave him that feedback that the car, as it is not going to be competitive. And the way he does this is he introduces elements of culture into that team. He comes up with Plan C. I'm not going to say what Plan C is. If you've seen the race, you know what Plan C is. And it's a way of, most teams during a race have a Plan A and B. It kind of determines when they pit and when they change tires. He comes up with a Plan C. that kind of changes the whole approach to everything, and almost becomes part of the team's lexicon when he says Plan C. The whole combat comment about having the car redesigned to get in there, in behind the turbulence and the dirty air of the car in front of it, dude, that becomes a touchstone for the team. He's mentoring that team. He's bringing together this team in disarray, this team that's just not getting it done. And he's pinning them around that desired outcome. He's collating them around. They've got to get that win. They've got to achieve that desired outcome. And he starts doing this as a leader of the team and mentoring everybody, and also mentoring Joshua, the rookie. And you see the different ways, kind of unconventional, that he starts doing this. I'm not going to go into a spoiler on that because it's going to kind of ruin part of it, especially when it comes to Plan C. But it is this mentoring role that Sonny finds himself in as far as doing. Now, one thing, especially with the rookie, with the Joshua Pierce character, he's super talented. He's got the raw ability to be a great race car driver, but he's not committed. He's distracted by social media, by sponsors, by the party life, the glitzy life. There's a little sense of entitlement there. Kind of thinks he's made it, even though he's never really done anything in F1. He's in F1, but he hasn't achieved anything. And kind of knows in the back of his mind that if they don't get it together, he's going to be out of a job and probably not on another team. So he could definitely benefit from learning from Sonny, but they obviously have a personality clash as part of the tension in the movie and the drama of it. It also makes it so good and the story arc so good. But to be mentored, you have to want to mentor. You have to want to be mentored. Someone can give you all the advice until they turn blue in the face, but if the other person's not receiving it, if they're not open to it, it's not going to matter. And part of this is what we see. There's one particular event that Sonny's giving advice on what he should do. It doesn't, and it does not end well, but there's a redemption to it. And this is where someone is saying, oh, you know what, I could benefit from that. That would make a difference for me. So a lot of times when we enter into a mentoring or a coaching relationship, you have to establish that trust and that credibility. Even when someone is ready for it, when someone wants to be mentored, when someone wants to be coached, and they're open to it, it's like that first impression. Why do I listen to you? What's your credibility? Why do you know? How am I supposed to know what you're talking about? I'm going to risk my livelihood, potentially my life in a sport like F1, on what you have to say. And in the business sense, in a business world, people are risking their careers on what they're being coached or mentored. And it's not unwise to have some skepticism. When I walk into a situation, it's like, okay, who's this guy? Why do I want to listen to him? Besides the fact that sometimes you're told they have to from their superiors, but that doesn't mean they're ready to be mentored. And in all the situations, it's like, how do you build that up and how do you achieve that? And sometimes it's some painful lessons that come from that. It just kind of depends on the situation. But the mentoring happens in so many different directions in this movie. I can't recall a movie that they've demonstrated this, off the top of my head, to where you have the very senior getting, mentoring in a form from someone more junior, a lot of peer-to-peer mentoring that goes on, and you see people beginning to climb on, onto the cause, onto working towards that desired outcome of getting that victory. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's one race victory. Why can't you do that? There are people that race Formula One for their careers and they never get a victory. There are teams that exist out of a 10 team field right now, at least 4, maybe 5 have never had a victory ever. So this one victory is a big deal. And when you mentor each other, it reduces that time to get somewhere, it reduces that friction, and increases the trust factor between everybody that's involved. So these are some really good examples of this here in F1 that you can take with you. Also, for your situation, for your work, especially if you're in a position of decision maker, maybe you're an executive, a leader, a business owner, what are ways that you can encourage this multi-directional mentoring between people? This doesn't have to just be top down. Top down is where a lot of that experience and wisdom comes from, no doubt, but also you can get nuggets and experiences that will help other people develop and also to achieve that desired outcome. I'll see you in part 3, where we're going to focus on desired outcome convergence.